Nintendo stuff. Welcome to Nintendo Stuff Live. This is episode 57? Is that where we're at?
Why'd we start? I'm checking my phone.
I can't believe this.
I can't. You are getting in between me and my phone time.
This has become a bit of a meme between me and Logan over the last couple nights. Well, since yesterday, really.
This is all I do nowadays.
Yes.
I can't believe you would just disrespect me like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm
So,
sorry for...
I'm going to need you to self-crit right now.
I'm sorry for getting in your way of your phone time. Welcome to Nintendo Stuff episode. It is 57, right?
It is 57.
Yes, so we were supposed to do an episode last week. Sorry. Welcome to this week's episode.
Yeah, fun fact. I'm not going to tell you the myriad of things that got in the way. If you want to know more, you can just join our Discord because that stuff's in the announcement page.
Yeah. Lots of stuff going on, but here we are. What's going on, Sandman?
What's going on?
What's going on, Sandman? It's good to see you, man. So yeah, a lot of stuff has happened over the last couple weeks. The most important thing in my book is the fact that Luigi's Mansion 3's come out, and I figured we'll just start the show with that, talk about our experiences with the game.
Yes.
And if I might be putting words into your mouth, but I think both of us have very positive things to say.
Oh, I mean, the small section I've played, I have been very, very enamored. In particular, like playing the co-op, which is a lot more integral to the experience than I was anticipating, and that's a 2 thumbs up for me. Give me more integral co-op experiences, less hey, we're just gonna throw another character in here that doesn't serve much of a purpose.
I'd almost say playing Luigi's Mansion 3 alone is doing a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, I think that might be the one drawback, but at the same time, if that means we get the kind of co-op experience we had the other night, like, I'm totally okay with that.
I mean, I didn't mean it from a mechanical standpoint. I mean, like, the kind of experience you can have playing co-op is, like, absolutely integral to the way I feel about the game. So, like, if you're not playing the game co-op, we're going to have vastly different opinions about the game, in my mind.
Yeah.
Because, you guys know I'm not really the biggest fan of Dark Moon. I don't think Dark Moon's a bad game. Dark Moon just does some things I disagree with, both from a design standpoint, and like mission structure, that kind of thing. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion 3 doesn't have mission structure, but a lot of the way that the world works and the kinds of interactables that you can find in the world are a lot like Dark Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that. So it's a nice little bit of a blend, but it's definitely still not Luigi's Mansion 1.
Certainly.
And I think that's to the game's merit.
Oh.
Rather than not to its merit. I know a lot of people like really love Luigi's Mansion 1, myself included, but that game, as many times as I've replayed it, I don't think it's something that translates well now.
Okay.
It's about a 4-hour-long experience, but the game is really padded out towards the end. So I wouldn't say it's a finished game. Not to say it's a bad game. I just don't think it's kind of like Super Mario Sunshine. It's a game that was definitely rushed out just to meet deadlines and say, we've got Luigi on the platform, we've got Mario on the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
Luigi's Mansion 3 has so much love, polish, and imagination poured into it. I cannot believe that this game exists.
Yeah, it seems like there's quite a bit of content. I mean, would you say you've put at least 4 hours into the game already?
I am 7 hours into the game.
Okay, so it's probably at least twice as long as the original is what you're saying.
Yep, and I still have... we unlocked the 11th floor elevator button just a couple hours ago, and there's still a few floors left. So I'd say there's probably at least another 5 hours of gameplay in there.
Yeah.
Not counting 100%ing the game, which is absolutely something I'm going to do.
And I mean, it is linear in the way that you're just kind of working your way up the tower.
Yeah, and the original Luigi's Mansion is kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. I know people really like that game because of how open it felt, but it is very, very, very linear.
No, certainly. And I think that was something I was thinking about. It's like, even though it feels like, oh, I'm going over here, now I'm going over here, I'm doing some backtracking, there's still like an order of operations that's pretty...
that you have to abide by.
Right. So, I mean, I think in a way, like, just playing the little bit that I have makes me hungry for like another sequel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, especially with how much they've shown this game, like how much personality it has, the scope of the game compared to previous games. I mean, what I was initially anticipating a little bit was a little bit of non-linearity, maybe a little bit of choice on like floors, which you could do first,
like maybe I have to go do something on floor 5 and then jump back down to floor 3.
Well, maybe a little bit of that, but like, what if at a certain point you, or maybe on one floor there's 2 separate buttons, right? And then you get one button or the second button, maybe you can get them both at the same time. and then you can kind of choose to go to either. And obviously that's not the case, but it does get me thinking about potential formats and structures they could go about making, like Luigi's Mansion 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, just go the Final Fantasy route.
Like the thing with that though is like you say that, but there's nothing really stopping the game from already doing it because there's nothing on floor 7 that I need to beat floor 11.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point you kind of have all the mechanics available to you, correct?
Once
and then
you're
it's
out
just,
of the tutorial and you have Luigi, you can just play the rest of the game.
right.
It's not like Luigi's Mansion 1 where there were 3 upgradable, items you can get later on in the story. And there could be more. I don't know for sure yet, but this late in the game, I wouldn't be surprised if I have the full array of abilities.
Yeah, which is also kind of fun because, like, they just kind of kept building on top of what they had going on before. Whereas, like, obviously in Dark Moon, they added, like, the ability not to just, like, shine your light on the ghost, but actually, like, have an action to flash.
Oh, the strobe bulb.
Yes. So they kind of had like, okay, you have to be a little bit more intentional about the action, not just shine.
And it's interesting too because that like mechanic, like you said, evolved from the first game because you still had to shine your light on ghosts in the first Luigi's Mansion, but you didn't have that flash. You had to turn your light off by holding the B button. So it's essentially the same thing, but you can charge that flash, make it stronger so that the ghosts are stunned for longer. Yeah,
it's done for longer. It covers more area, so
Right.
you can cover more ghosts.
And they use that mechanic in some other puzzle solving because there's the green lights
Right.
that are light sensitive that you can flash and turn them on. So that's kind of an evolution of a mechanic they kind of already had. And personally, I kind of liked being able to turn off my flashlight in the original game. But, that's just a nitpick. It doesn't service the game one way or the other.
For sure.
Other things about Luigi's Mansion, going back to co-op a little bit, we talked about how it feels like it's integral to the experience, but I think we should talk a little bit about what we've experienced with that and, let them know why we feel that way. So, like, Luigi obviously has a different skill set from Luigi, which I think is the most important part of the whole thing. So Luigi, obviously he's a physical mass.
Yes.
He cannot phase through grates.
True.
Luigi is green poop. Gelatinous poop.
Is he poop though?
No, he's not poop.
Poop.
He has a recipe, and the game tells you what the recipe for Luigi is. So
I missed that part. I think you might have explained it to me though.
A spoiler alert for those of you who are watching, if you just want to experience that in the game. It's a very quick explanation. But for your sake, since we already passed that part, Luigi is made up of 1 vial of ghost energy and green coffee.
Green coffee.
And he's edible.
Oh, you can eat him. So
you can eat Luigi.
So if Luigi ever got like hungry,
and he tastes like coffee, so like it probably would taste pretty good.
my other guess was going to be green tea.
Yes. See, that's like what your mind would go to, but green coffee is what he's made out of.
Yeah. Also, like, there's like green tea flavored like candies, specifically like in Japan.
Yeah.
So.
Or like a mochi kind of flavor.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever had mochi ice cream?
I don't think I've ever had mochi ice cream.
My wife bought it some time ago. She didn't really like it, but I tried it and I thought it was delicious. So, and it was low in carb too.
Yeah.
Or lower in carb.
Yeah.
Not low in carb. So, yeah. Mochi ice cream. Try it out if you haven't.
For sure. Okay, so moving on from that, talking about like some of the final like mechanic changes from the other games is specifically like the combat. Like when you are able to capture start sucking in a ghost and
Right.
then, filling up that meter, and then when it's filled, being able to slam down the ghosts and even slam it onto other ghosts, damaging other ghosts in the process.
That builds some strategy to how you suck up ghosts. In the original Luigi's Mansion, the only thing you could do was suck up a ghost or fire elemental attacks at it. In this game, like you said, you can slam ghosts and deal more damage. It makes Luigi capable of. My wife is crawling on the floor in front of us. I'm not even going to hide that this is happening. She's trying to deliver me French fries from Portillo's. We love you, Greg Miller. Your dog Portillo is adorable. We'll just, there you go. So, what was I saying?
You were talking about the the gameplay mechanics.
Oh yeah, so it makes Luigi capable of fighting groups of ghosts, which is something that was really like kind of obnoxious about the first game, because if you had a room full of ghosts, you could only focus on one at a time.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stop the other ghosts from attacking. And the problem is the ghosts would drag you around while you're trying to reel them in.
Mm-hmm.
So you honestly have no real control of where Luigi is on the screen while you're sucking up a ghost. And I think this helps alleviate that.
Yeah.
That said, I have found the game to be easy. I think even easier than the original game.
Okay.
And that's not necessarily a knock against it. I would prefer a little bit more challenge.
Right.
I've also noticed, and let me know, guys, if you feel the same way. But like, there's no ghosts just out in the mansion or in the hotel. Every single ghost encounter we've had is a scripted situation, and that's not like they aren't scripted in the original game, but they occupy the building. From this game, like, you could walk through a hallway, you could go through a whole floor, and you might see 3 ghosts the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little weird to me. I don't hate it. Like, it helps keep the gameplay feel fresh since you're not sucking up ghosts all the time.
Right.
But that's your main action as Luigi. So I don't know. I just find that a little bit odd.
Right. I think they could probably bump it up a little bit. Maybe make some of the encounters a little more, I don't know, chaotic. Because I haven't seen any that were like really overbearing. You know?
It's strange. I find it strange. That said, the boss battles I think are fantastic. You've only seen a few of them, but there's one. Spoiler alert again. There's a music hall floor, and you fight a boss who possesses a piano. And it's like a multi-stage fight. So like there's a part where he's playing the piano and whatnot, and you can't attack him. He's throwing stuff at you. He opens, the head of the piano, and you have to fire a bomb at the back end and then have it fall into the piano so it blows up. Then the piano comes out into the field, and you have to knock it over to get the ghost to come out, and then you suck up the ghost. And you have to do that several times, and like the attacks he uses changes as you do it. It was a very like full boss battle experience, and this game really feels like it just has a lot of that, and I'm enjoying it.
So that's kind of like the feature, like the focus, I guess, in terms when it comes to the combat. Is they really spent a lot of time thinking about like what these bosses were going to be like and how they could make them interesting. And, it seems like each one is really different. Like the one I was watching you and Alvin do earlier was very different from, I think we did 2 when we were playing the other night.
We did the plant where we had the chainsaws.
Yes.
Which was a really fun fight.
That was, especially just being able to suck up that chainsaw and then just cut everything up. That was such a satisfying.
It'll let you destroy everything.
And then we did the movie director.
Oh my god, I love that.
Which we didn't actually face off against the movie director.
No. The ghost in that floor wasn't even a bad guy. He was just a movie director who just wanted to make art. And big spoiler alert, because I think this would be a fun part of the game for a lot of folks, but you end up fighting one of his actors wearing like a Godzilla suit, and it's a kaiju battle on a miniature cityscape set.
Yeah, and you go through the motions of like creating different movie scenes. It's not like all, doesn't he stitch the movie together eventually?
Don't inhale French fries. He's editing the movie, and they said this at E3 during the Treehouse, that at the end of the game, you can go and watch the completed film. So like that's a present for post-game content. I'm like excited for that.
Yeah, I'm actually really anticipating. Like, let me know when you finish it so I can see that, because I'd love to see that.
And another thing that makes me excited for that, and we haven't talked about this, is how unbelievably incredible the CG cutscenes are. Or they're not even CG; they're in engine.
Yeah, they're in engine. The cutscenes, like the camera changes because you're supposed to be looking through like an actual like movie camera, effects start to appear on the screen. Like it's all like, oh, we've already finished all the post and you're just in this scene now. It's a lot of fun. And because certain things change within the movie scenes, like there's elements in those movie scenes, not on the sets, but in the movie scenes that you have to use to solve this puzzle on the floor.
It's one of the most like inventive things I think the Mario team has come up with in a while. Oh, and Next Level Games.
Yeah.
Really surprising. Can we talk about how lovely Luigi is? How
Dude,
expressive he is?
Yeah, the amount of facial animations, his other animations, his little dances,
the
toads. Yeah, I'll never like. It just was so immediately impressionable that like at certain points during like since we started playing the game, like I started imitating some of their little dances right at the beginning.
Cute.
The introduction to this game is so overly charming. Like the amount of character that is coming out of like, these toads and then the other characters and your presence it's like amazing. You're like, oh my gosh, I've never ever seen a Mario game with as much personality as this one. Like I've just like even
never.
Like not that other Mario games don't have personality.
I think maybe Rabbids Kingdom Battle is a close second, but this game is like on its own level.
Not even like the facial expressions and other things that are happening. Like I don't even feel like they come close to what they've accomplished with this game.
Definitely not like in the moment to moment gameplay, because like even when you're not in the cutscenes, you're still getting that high level of detail and expression from Luigi. One scene we always go back to is from the beginning of the game when they're going to go to sleep. And they just say night night to each other.
Night night.
It's so cute. Like we've never gotten to see Mario and Luigi really interact in a 3D Mario game. It honestly just makes me really excited for the Super Mario Brothers movie that's coming out in a couple years.
Oh yeah.
This is like a little preview of what could be.
Yeah, again, it's just there's so much personality. Like, after they say goodnight and they go to their respective rooms, once you get into bed, like Poulter, the Poulter pup, spins around, sits down. Luigi puts his flashlight on the nightstand, grabs a book, and then immediately falls asleep.
And like comically so, like his mouth is wide open, he's snoring.
His like head gets just thrown back.
It's so cute.
It's like like he's violently falling asleep.
You get a really good sense of like how awkward and anxious Luigi is about everything. Like he's not a scaredy cat, he's just a millennial.
Yeah.
He's like I relate to him so hard, like he's got social anxiety. He doesn't like being in places alone for too long. Oh man, he's a really relatable character, and I think that's why people like Luigi a lot more than Mario these days, because they've never really given Mario those kinds of traits.
Yeah.
So, props to Luigi's Mansion 3 for making me love Luigi even more than I already did. I mean, my hard drive on my computer is named Luigi. Because what else would I name it? He's the perfect companion.
He's so good. I love it.
Yeah, so it's a great game. I definitely plan on playing more tonight because I can tell I'm getting close to the end, and I really want to see it through. And then I want to jump into some Scare Scraper. We'll probably do some videos for that or maybe some live streams. But great game. Absolutely pick it up. I think it's well worth the price.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I'm also glad I'm probably not going to buy it because it's already accessible to me. But if I didn't, if it wasn't accessible to me, like this is 100% a game that I would want to get.
There's a reason Nintendo was like pushing this game as hard as they were, because I personally find this to be a AAA first party release.
Yeah, no, this is totally worthwhile. Now, the thing that's on my mind is how does Josh Thomas feel about this game?
I hope he likes it. I feel like this was made for him, but you never know.
Yeah,
Also, hi Don in the chat. He says, I can't believe that you guys are the preview of the new Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm glad you think that.
Yeah, don't tell Nintendo that we are in on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know, but don't tell anybody else.
No, they don't even know. Like, we're officially involved, but, like, Just no.
Keep it on the low down. So moving on from Luigi's Mansion, what do we got on the news?
I will just mention a few more Luigi things. So this podcast was supposed to happen last week, and during that week
Yes, it
there
was.
was a Luigi's Mansion Tetris 99 event.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, guys, if you wanted a sweet Luigi's Mansion theme for Tetris 99. If you didn't already get it,
It's gone.
I remembered and was like, okay, I need to do this, and I finally got it, and it's a wonderful theme, and the music is great. I love it so much.
Speaking on that, they have announced the Sword and Shield theme,
Yes,
so that'll be coming up.
Yeah, I will be playing for that Tetris event as well because I want to get all those sweet themes.
Before we move on, there is one thing I want to mention about Pokemon. The games have broken street date, and leaks are everywhere. So if you are sensitive to Pokemon evolutions, what other Pokemon are in the game, and just story content, just be aware it's out there and hide from it.
What day this month do those come out?
The 15th, so next Friday, I think.
Okay, so it's a little
It's-
less than 2 weeks away.
The same thing happened with Smash Ultimate. It was a whole 2 weeks, which is a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's plenty of time for someone to beat the game and just unload
For
everything.
sure. So, I mean, if it has broken street date and some of you gotten it, I mean, do the respectful thing. Just save it. Definitely don't post stuff online because you will get trounced by Nintendo, especially if it's on YouTube.
They have flown people out to collect, copies before of Pokemon too. I can't remember if it was X and Y or if it was Sun and Moon, but they flew someone out, took the dude's copy, and that was it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you did get one, congratulations. Just don't publicize it because Nintendo will come get you.
Enjoy it, but that's it.
That being said, I am, like, uber curious about those evolutions for the starters.
They've never hidden that before. It's kind of, well, they probably have, but
Well,
never in the modern era.
I've seen what are probably the second evolutions of Sobble and Grookey.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay, after the leaks started?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because I don't really mind that kind of stuff being spoiled for me. Like, I'd like to know what my evolutions look like.
You're also like a more casual Pokemon fan, too.
Right. I'm not so hardcore, but Go Fishing 3D. Nintendo says Go Fishing 3D, the worst game on the Nintendo Switch eShop, is currently $149. That's the real news.
I guess we can wrap up the show. Don's got it covered.
Is that gonna be like the bad rats of Nintendo Switch?
I hope so. We need something like
If you
that.
guys don't know what Bad Rats is, go on Steam, look up Bad Rats. Chances are it's gonna be less than $1. Buy it for all your friends as a joke, because that's why you buy that game. There are some things coming to Mario Kart Tour.
Which are, I think, here already.
Maybe, yeah. Waluigi, Luigi, King Boo.
Yeah, Waluigi is in right now.
Yeah, and then some Halloween stuff that is most definitely out by this point.
Yeah, it's Halloween King Boo, Halloween Rosalina, and regular King Boo. Though, honestly, Halloween King Boo is regular King Boo, and the other King Boo is a Boo wearing a crown.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Josh Thomas would agree.
Let's see, what else? The Pokemon Sword and Shield games have purchase options for Nintendo Switch Online. Did we talk about this? I felt like it's been so long, and I think when I put all this stuff in this document, we had a discussion about it because we were anticipating like, oh, we're going to do it like the next day, and then it just didn't happen.
I don't think we've talked about it publicly now.
I'm like, so this needs to not happen ever
We're
again.
sorry. I mean, go to the Discord. You'll find out what happened.
I don't want to spoil it. Plus, I want you guys to join our Discord. One of my favorite things that I learned about last week was from an interview on, what was the publication? It's a Japanese publication.
Famitsu?
Not Famitsu.
What was the...
It was the interview with Shigesato Itoi.
Oh, yes.
You were familiar with the publication. I was not.
It's not Nikkei. Well, they're a numbers thing. Does it say in the article? If not, that's like
Challenge Room?
Challenge room.
No, it's that's
If you guys know in the chat, help us out here. We want to give credit where it belongs.
Game Center.
Game Center CX. Yes.
Okay, cool. But they had a discussion with Mother series producer Shigesato Itoi, talking about a lot of his inspiration. Some notable things from that interview where he talks about how he felt indebted to Nintendo.
Yes.
Because he has asthma, and sometimes that can make it hard to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So even before he developed Mother, he would stay up playing Super Mario Bros. When he couldn't sleep.
So it was a source of comfort for him.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me wonder if like the characters of Nintendo and Ness and Lucas, if they have any like personal connection to Itoi.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a filmmaker, right?
for sure.
So I wonder if like any of that personal experience helps drive what those characters went through. Ness in particular seemed to have like a father who wasn't around, but he would call him on the phone. That's how you saved in that game, and he would give you money.
Right.
So it makes me wonder, like, you know, how much like personal drive or personal experience Itoi pulls from when he makes his games.
Yeah.
Not that he makes them anymore.
So, I mean, there's a lot of other moments in that thing, but I just thought that was probably the most interesting thing to see. Like,
Yeah.
again, I think video games for all of us, if you're watching this or if you're the ones making the podcast, we all feel to a certain degree indebted to Nintendo. Like, I don't know what my life would be if I hadn't had the experience of Super Mario 64 or Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword or the wonderful Breath of the Wild. I could go on and on about the amount of Nintendo games that have just really given me a lot of comfort and enjoyment through the years. Even like non-Nintendo games that appeared on Nintendo platforms. Like I remember playing Super Monkey Ball 2 back in the day with friends, and obviously playing a ton of Mario Kart with friends. Like, I don't know what the kind of person I would be without Nintendo, and it seems like it's really, I wouldn't say universal. I'm not sure everybody's played Nintendo necessarily,
right,
but I imagine there's a lot of people who feel the same. And
I mean, I certainly do. We went to a Smash Brothers tournament at a new gaming lounge that opened up here in our town. And we went with one of my friends, Alvin, who, you know, back when we were in middle school going into high school, Super Smash Brothers Brawl was something that we would do on the daily. Like, we'd both get home from school, we'd log on Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, and we'd get on Brawl and play together. I mean, obviously, it's not a game that works really well online, but we loved it so much that, you know, we were willing to do it every night. And then we went to a tournament together, and it just brought back all those feelings. Like, you know, it may not be the game itself in this case. Not that I don't like Brawl, because I do, of course. But it's just like how that game fit into my life. And, you know, it helped me build connections. And Sakurai says that the Smash symbol is a symbol for unitedness and bringing things together. And that's how I feel about me and my friends. Like, that game has been a source of camaraderie, I guess you could say. So yeah, I absolutely, you know where he's coming from. Yeah,
that's beautiful. Is there like a specific place where he's quoted saying that?
It was sometime this year, like someone asked him what the symbol meant, and like the reason it's a cross is because all these characters are crossing over and coming together. So it's maybe not unitedness is the right word, but you know, the idea of crossing over, which I think you can also relate to unitedness. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It almost makes me want to get a generic Smash logo tattoo.
Hey man, I think it'd be a good one.
Yeah. It's a safe one too. Like you can't go wrong with that.
No, you really can't.
People are, oh, you like Smash? Who doesn't like Smash?
Who knew like there'd be so much meaning for people in a circle with 2 lines through it?
It's iconic at this point. I mean, it's great. Let's see. I mean, there's some interesting things going on in there if you want to read some of those off while I look up the next.
Quickly,
thing.
kind of dialing back to Pokemon really quick. Don said, Nintendon said, Europe got a Pokemon Sword and Shield edition on the eShop with a redeemable code for a steelbook case for a digital game.
The only thing I have to say to this is that I watched a Jim Sterling video about quote unquote special editions the other day, and all of his thoughts are my thoughts. So maybe I'll post that in the Discord if you want to see that, or if you already know that, just look up Jim Sterling, or I'll post it in the Discord and you can find it there.
Nolan says, I work at Target in electronics now, and I never realized how much Nintendo is the Apple of video game consoles until I started working there. I think there's more context needed for this statement, unless you can draw from that.
I mean, I also worked at Target for a time, and I mean, I guess if I could just draw something from that, I would say it's like, in a way, it's the premium, you know, in a lot of ways. Like, it is the gaming company, even though a lot of people are really snooty about like the power of their consoles and such.
I guess Apple does, you know, face the same types of criticisms that Nintendo does when you talk about hardware.
Yeah. And some people, well, you know, but I guess you can say that about anything. But I'd say, you know, certainly there's a premium feel that comes with just Nintendo products in general.
Sure.
Not necessarily that everything's going to be perfect, but like, you know, think about paying $60 for a Link's Awakening remake, you know, which sometimes you're like, I don't know about $60, but man, it's like you're paying that Nintendo tax in a lot of ways. And then also, they don't lower the price of their games.
They really don't.
And when they do, it's a whole line of games.
It's a Nintendo Select.
It's a Select, and then they really drop the price. But at that point, it's like, oh, dude, you'd be crazy not to pay $20 for this experience, you know? And it really, I feel like it keeps the brand, you know, kind of
accessible.
Well, I'd say like it's kind of like having a Nintendo licensed product. Like in the back of the day, it's like, this has our seal of approval. Like, this is something that, you know, that we're not going to drop the price arbitrarily, because that also plays into the perceived value of the product.
Yes, for sure.
So
and you know, the resale market for Nintendo products is always so high. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Nintendo doesn't want to damage that either, even though they don't profit off of it.
Yeah. So Nolan says they tend to have the same business contracts as Apple. Yeah, just being able to be like, oh yeah, like if we don't like your stuff, well, you might pull it, you know. There are other things associated with it. That Nintendo tax, again, I think that's a big thing.
It does seem like they've become a little more lenient on that recently, especially compared to like the Wii U era, where they were very stringent on that from the sounds of things. And, you know, we know people in the business that have dealt with it, so like, you know, this comes from personal experience.
Yeah.
Santi says we're still waiting on Nintendo Selects for Switch. I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
Yeah, I think it'll be at minimum like another 2 years. Like once the Switch is like maybe 4.5, 5 years old, maybe we'll see some Nintendo Selects. I think like, you know, something like Breath of the Wild is going to be $60 until
the second one comes out,
and the second one's like 2 years old.
Right. I mean, that'd certainly be a great opportunity.
Also, if the game keeps selling like they're selling, they're never going Select. They're just going to sell that at $60.
They'll go Select once it hits its peak. Once it plateaus at that price, you know, then they switch it to Select and let them ride the wave a little bit longer. Yeah. Speaking of the Switch, I didn't put this in the notes, but it has surpassed 40 million hardware units sold.
Yeah, that's a lot of units, especially for what we're just over 2.5 years into the life cycle.
Yep. We're like 5 months out from the third year anniversary.
And if we're thinking about that, like the PS4 just passed over 100 million units and is a little further. It's now the second best selling console of all time.
Yeah, it overcame the Wii.
Yeah, so the only thing that is above it is the PS2.
It's great for Sony.
Yeah.
It's a good milestone to have.
And then I think the only So I think if we're 2.5 years, let's say we double that. Let's say we're like 82 million by the 5-year mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the PS4 came out 2012.
Uh-huh.
And we are in its like 7th year, and it just passed.
So it's outpacing it, isn't
I'm
it?
pretty sure it's outpacing this.
Well, it's outpacing the Wii too,
It is outpacing the Wii.
which is incredible to
I
me.
mean, the PS4 outpaced the Wii at a certain point. So, I mean, the Switch is doing quite well. And then, we haven't even hit holiday season with
Pokemon.
with the first like real new gen Pokemon, right? We have
And-
Let's Go, which sold well enough. It sold like well over 10 million.
Yeah, and we're just a few months out from Animal Crossing. Those are the two big ones right there. Like, you're not going to sell better than either of those games. Animal Crossing more Japan, Pokemon more
Yes.
globally.
Yeah,
But,
and then again with that, the Switch Lite SKU, like obviously that's cheaper,
that's going to be a great holiday seller.
especially for mobile gamers
And children.
Yes.
Multi-Switch households.
Mm-hmm. See, now what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to release a controller app of some sort to allow you to use extra Switches
As controllers. That's a good idea.
In particular with the Switch Lite.
You could do that with your 3DS and play Smash for Wii U with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good idea. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
Yeah. And I mean, the only thing to round out the family would be a Switch Pro.
That has to be a
Dude,
2020
give us
thing.
our Super Switch. I want my Super Switch, and I want some like.
There's a little bit of confirmation bias in there because I really want it to happen, but I still think it's 2020.
Yeah.
It has to line up with Breath of the Wild 2. It makes sense in my mind. Like, Breath of the Wild was built on Wii U, and then development shifted over to Switch as well.
Right.
That is still primarily, to me, a Wii U game. Breath of the Wild 2 will be a Switch game. And certainly I do think the game will probably perform, with frame rate and resolution better than the first game, even without a Pro.
Right.
But they're going to want to use a Pro to help. I shouldn't say that. They're going to use Breath of the Wild 2 to help launch the Pro.
I would hope that would be the case. Could you imagine having like an even better looking Breath of the Wild?
If I can, even if it only hit 1080p at 60 frames per second, it doesn't even have to be 60 frames per second. If I can lock at 30, I'd be happy.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a correction to make. Don has corrected me that it was 2013 for PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh, yes,
it was like
that. I'm sorry.
early. I was thinking like late 2012, but I think that was the Wii U. That was early 2012 for the Wii U, wasn't it? Or mid? I don't know. It doesn't matter. That console only sold 13 million.
I remember being in our college dorm room, me and Paul's college dorm room, sitting in the corner of our room on top of a clothes dresser, with a 19-inch TV, watching the Wii U presentation where Reggie was sitting on a very small stage, and we were talking about the TV app on the Wii U. So,
wait, it was late 2013.
yeah, it was November, wasn't it?
Yeah. So as of the 15th, it will be 6 years old.
Don says November 2012 for Wii U.
Yes.
Yes,
November 2012
that's
for the
right.
Wii U.
Because when we came back from holiday break, we had the Wii U.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. It's weird to see like a console from Nintendo come out first in a line of consoles. And it happened again with Switch. Even though like some people probably wouldn't consider Switch a new gen system. I mean, I do.
Yeah, at this point the generations have been thrown off, and then also the power difference is something to consider. Even though the power difference, like considering, isn't like quite as large as it was previous generations, just because we're getting to that point where like games just are looking better and better, and like with the PS4, PS5, and Xbox One Double X, I don't know what they're gonna call it.
At least the Switch was a marked improvement over the Wii U, and especially being mobile hardware, that in my mind makes that an even bigger power gap.
Right. I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face about how it matters so much less, because even though The Witcher 3 looks like trash, it's still mobile.
It's still incredible feat. Like,
yep, you can play that game and you can enjoy it. And if you're not too what's the word?
elitist.
Yeah, if you're not too elitist, I've ran into some people like that. then who cares? I mean, it's on a 720p screen anyway, and it's not that like. If you want to play The Witcher 3, buy it on Switch, whatever.
And
Enjoy
Don's
yourself.
right. The 3DS has witnessed the Wii U, and Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's like, dude, they got the defibrillator on that thing.
I do want to kind of switch gears over to 3DS. Switch gears to 3DS real quick.
God.
3DS is actually going to switch gears over to Switch because Nintendo has mentioned they want to bring some of their 3DS franchises over to Nintendo Switch, and that is an exciting prospect to me.
Yeah, that's just another nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're finally saying, "Hey, it's over."
Yeah, Nolan mentions that the Switch Lite is going to replace the 3DS.
That's exactly what that is.
I agree.
That said, I do want to talk about some of the possible franchises that could come from 3DS to Switch. You already know I'm going to say Kid Icarus Uprising.
Kid Icarus Uprising. Is that a game?
Yes, a game. I just really want you to play it, man. I love that
I might
game.
have on my 3DS, and I keep getting other games
and
and
then not playing it.
I do it to spite you, really.
I know you do, and it makes me sad.
No, so I'm gonna steal this from you because I'm a big puzzle guy, right? So
I already know what's coming.
I like my puzzle games. So the other day, I got a few puzzle games on my 3DS that I'd been wanting to play for a while. I actually just also downloaded Rhythm Heaven.
Mega Mix?
No, I don't think it was the Mega Mix. It was Rhythm Heaven, just the Final Fantasy, whatever. It's all the same,
Theater
right?
Rhythm.
Oh, Theater Rhythm. It's all the same.
Rhythm Heaven is a Nintendo franchise, and a much better one.
I'm super smart. Either way, so I had played Pushmo quite a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been playing through Crashmo, and the sequel to that, Stretchmo.
I forgot about Stretchmo.
Yeah, Stretchmo, and that is something that I've been wanting to play through for a while, so I'm playing through that. They also had Pushmo World on the Wii U, so it's not like that franchise hasn't made its way over to a console. But that one was kind of weird.
It had that weird monetization model, right?
Yeah, like just make me pay up front, guys. Don't try to finagle me with that, hey, free to download, but then also you just have to buy the content inside the game.
I mean, if the content ends up costing the same amount as the game would have in the first place, whatever, but like it is kind of needlessly complex.
Yeah, it felt strange. Like I'd rather just pay for the game because I know the games are going to be quality. I mean, they're first party Nintendo stuff. So I would love to see another Pushmo sequel on the Switch.
Don is also asking for Panel de Pon, or as we know it here, Puzzle League.
Okay.
And Puzzle League was a new mode added in Welcome Amiibo on Animal Crossing New Leaf, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, I have no idea.
They
You know
added
better than I
the
would.
survival mode from Amiibo Festival, and then they added Puzzle League as an additional mode as well alongside.
Oh yeah,
that.
they did. Yeah.
So
Okay.
in my mind, maybe Puzzle League will just be a built-in thing with New Horizons. I don't see why
that
not.
never occurred to me. I remember playing that a little bit. I remember being kind of like into it, but also I'd played so much New Leaf at that point that I just never went back to it. So
Yeah, but Puzzle League's its own thing, obviously. Maybe that'll be a Switch Online freebie like Tetris 99.
Nolan saying bring Final Fantasy 14 to Switch. They could do that. It's a PS3 title.
They've been talking about doing it. It's on the cards.
Yo,
And as soon as it happens, I'm going to download it because I love that game.
that might be the place to play it. I've been playing on PC, but if I get a chance to just play it on my Switch, I know it's not going to look any worse on the
You could always
Switch.
download it on PS4 as well.
Yeah,
You will have to buy it on every system you want to play it on, though.
this is true. This is true.
That said, I do think the subscription would carry over because it's on the same account. That I don't know for sure. Don says, no, give me full Puzzle League. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, so I'd like to see a Pushmo sequel, Stretchmo, Crashmo, Hitmo. What else could they call it?
Smackmo.
I was gonna say Slapmo, so it's
okay,
pretty close.
both of those.
Yeah. Eatmo,
Crunchmo.
Bmo.
Oh
Oh my gosh.
10 Dogs and Catsmo.
Oh wow. Okay, we're really getting out there.
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on.
What else could they bring? Do we have any other ideas of what 3DS titles Birds and beans.
I was gonna say, a couple. WarioWare, which isn't necessarily a 3DS franchise,
but it's primarily
like handheld.
Handheld,
Yeah. And I had another one. It was a big one too.
Kid Icarus.
Yes. No.
Twice.
Mario and Luigi. That's what I was gonna
Oh,
say.
Mario and Luigi would be a good one.
Probably Sans Alpha Dream, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
still a new Mario and Luigi game. I think will probably happen at some point. Not to replace Paper Mario. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze.
Well, how about some third-party stuff, right? So,
Oh my goodness.
we maybe Bravely Default.
Bravely Default. They've been teasing a Switch release for that for quite some time.
Are we gonna get a re-release?
I think it will be a Bravely
Remaster?
Default plus Bravely Second HD,
That would be very cool. That way, I wouldn't have to play it on my 3DS.
which will then also lead into a sequel because there's no way they're done with that series.
For sure.
In addition to that, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, which we already know is headed to Switch at some point.
I mean, we already have the trilogy,
trilogy.
which I have on my Switch, and I need to play through.
They need to release the second trilogy as well. Those games are a little harder to play because they're only available on handhelds.
Yeah.
Except for Ace Attorney 4, which you can play on Steam now, I think. But yeah, Ace Attorney's a big one for me, and Professor Layton, but that's just now coming to Switch.
Yes,
with
yes.
Miss Layton, or what's her name?
Layton. Just Layton's Mystery Journey or whatever.
Yeah,
I downloaded a bunch of Layton games recently too. I'm ready to get into that puzzle solving.
Puzzle solving. I think those are the big ones, though.
For sure.
They're at the forefront of my mind, and they're what I want to see the most. But Kid Icarus above everything else. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Developed by Sakurai, please.
Yeah, I'm down for all of those. Nolan says new Nintendo Land.
Yes, absolutely. I love that game.
I'd love to just have a sequel to Nintendo Land.
That game is so unbelievably underrated.
It's got to come with the remote controller feature on like the Switch and Switch Lite to use as a second screen.
Oh yes. Oh, that'd be a great way to introduce it.
Yeah, bring back the asymmetrical gameplay.
We already have that a little bit with the Pac-Man Versus game that came in one of the Namco collections on Switch.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the person who bought the game, they host the game for Pac-Man Versus, and then other players can download a client from the eShop to connect.
Oh, for sure.
And then everybody has their own screen. Because it's basically like you want to be the last man standing, and you can't see each other's positions.
For sure. Yo, I was thinking about this the other day. Nintendo, bring back download play. What the heck, man? Where's my download play?
You know what game like I was considering that for specifically?
What?
Luigi's Mansion 3. Because you can only have 2 players per system doing Scarescraper. And I'm not going to make everybody buy Luigi's Mansion just so we can play Scarescraper together. Just make download play and we could all play locally.
That would be great.
Yeah, like that's what I want. You could do that on the 3DS version of the game or Dark Moon.
Yeah, they need to bring back download play. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's not like you can play like the entire game through the download play, but if you want to play like, multiplayer, like think about how much value that brings to like every Switch owner. Oh, my buddy's got Luigi's Mansion. I don't really care for Luigi's Mansion, but like, hey man, like we can play all his friends and do that kind of stuff. That's great.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And also maybe even make that something you can do over the internet.
Internet would be cool.
Like A Way Out, which is a game you can buy on PS4, and I think it's also on Xbox.
Oh, not to mention,
and they send you the extra codes you can give to your friends so they can play with you.
Not to mention something that Nintendo is not currently doing, but Steam is currently doing, is allowing you to play local multiplayer games over the internet.
Yes,
and only one person has to own the game.
That's kind of what you do with the Nintendo Switch Online, NES and SNES games. That's basically how that works. That said, all your friends have to have it.
Right.
But you need it to play online anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a wonderful system-wide feature. That would be incredible. I'd pay a premium for that. I'd pay even an additional $10 a year because that would be fantastic.
So, well, we can dream, and
we're getting dreamy.
We know Nintendo's watching this podcast, so it's only a matter of time till they take our suggestions.
Nintendo is watching the podcast.
Yeah.
It's almost Nintendo.
Honestly, I'd say it's even better.
They're suggesting Awakening remastered, Fire Emblem Awakening.
I don't feel like we really need.
It's not
Like a
necessary
remaster.
per se, but I don't think it would be a bad thing maybe to get some of those other Fire Emblems on the system.
No, but I feel like they should just go back further. Like we got a remake of one that never got localized.
Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia.
So I mean, there are definitely more of those games that have not been remade. And
we did also
localized.
learn, and this is not confirmed by the way, that there was a second Fire Emblem remake in the works for 3DS, and additional remakes for the system that were shelved because of how Bowser's Inside Story performed. They were going to continue to release remakes on the 3DS, and that's where they drew the
until
line.
they realized that nobody wants to buy games on the 3DS anymore, and they're like, wait a minute, maybe we should take these projects and put them on the Switch, maybe?
Sadly, I don't think that's going to be the outcome. I don't think they're going to put those remakes on Switch. I think they're just going to shelve the whole thing.
Yeah.
That said, I am still open to it if they want to.
Yeah. The only other thing we're going to need that isn't a 3DS game that we need localized is Captain Rainbow.
Yeah, where's Captain Rainbow?
Where's Captain Rainbow?
I would love to play that game.
Let's get Josh Thomas on the podcast and
he'll talk all about
talk about Captain Rainbow.
Santi's mentioning Genealogy of the Holy War, which, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who's watching, I listened to, I've mentioned this podcast to you before, Wizard and the Bruiser, where they go into the history of any kind of pop culture thing. They did an episode on Fire Emblem, and they talked about Genealogy of the Holy War, which takes place over several generations of families, and you get to see the effects of each individual war, going forward in the future. It's a really cool idea. So that one in particular, I think, would be a great entry in the series for a remake.
Yeah.
Nintendo says it'll be interesting what Intelligent Systems is working on, mostly because very little Intelligent Systems staff actually worked on Three Houses. The credits confirm that. They had help from the people who do the Musou games. What
is Tecmo Koei?
Yes.
Koei Tecmo?
Yes. Paper Mario?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of hoping Paper Mario.
Right?
Not that I would want to limit Intelligent Systems to that kind of stuff. And who knows, maybe they have a large enough team where they could have two projects simultaneously,
I think they do.
I would imagine so, especially after like the last few Fire Emblem games.
They've been cranking them out.
Yeah. So that being said, I don't want to get stuck on all the things that could come to Switch for the rest of the podcast.
We could talk about that for years.
I will mention a few other things. The Tekken producer, Harada, is frustrated by Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC requests. And,
yeah, he is.
Obviously,
leave him alone, guys.
Works at Bandai, right?
Yeah.
So
because they own the Tekken series.
Yeah, and they obviously developed the majority of Smash Ultimate, so he's obviously knows that this stuff comes. He says the developers won't negotiate with spammers and terrorists. I'm not sure that you can really classify people who make empty threats online as terrorists, but that being said, there have been some really awful things that have happened to some studios in Japan, so you never know.
Yes, and there have been some direct threats made to Sakurai in regards to Waluigi.
Yeah.
Guys, that's not okay. Let's just be completely up about that.
Well, here's the thing, and credit to our audience. I think our audience knows this.
Oh,
is
absolutely.
Not okay, right?
But this is for the broader people.
Yeah, if there's anybody out there like legitimately angry at this stuff, there are people you can talk to.
His name is Harada, correct?
Correct.
Nintendo mentions he is Bandai Namco's leader of video game production now.
Oh, then he
is the big boy.
He knows what's up, and he has power over that kind of stuff. Maybe not necessarily over all of Super Smash Bros, but
he can definitely get right into Sakurai's ear.
Yeah. So you guys all better calm down and find other places to expend all that angry energy. Pick up a sport, a new hobby, eat better.
Actually play Smash Bros.
Exercise. Try to get more of a social life because we know isolation can bring that kind of stuff out. Not that it's all your fault. We're not blaming you, but we got to make effort, guys. And for those of you who know who these angry people are, reach out to them, give them hugs. They need some sort of physical touch, probably, because there's no other way you could be that angry.
Getting real deep on this one.
Yeah. I mentioned IGN put out a revision of their 100 best games of all time. Their top 10 is honestly almost perfect.
So I've been holding off on looking at this so that we could talk about it here, and I could get my live reaction.
Have you looked at it?
I haven't looked at it at all.
Have we talked about this? I feel like
we did,
talked
but
about
like
this.
I stopped you from telling me what they were, just so that I could kind of.
I feel like we've had this. It's so frustrating.
You've had it with people in the Discord server. Join our Discord. but not with
Dream
me.
Drop says it's a questionable list, and he should ban himself. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the list, but I can respect this top 10. So number 10 is one of my favorite games of all time, Super Mario 64.
Oh, great addition. Like, we've even been playing a little bit of that. and
Yes.
it holds up.
Yes, for sure. Actually, no, I remember. We have talked about other lists as of recent. It wasn't this list, though. It was the best-selling list.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I was getting confused over. Number 9, they put Red Dead Redemption. I've never played the original Red Dead Redemption, but I've heard great things about it.
I've played a little bit of it, and I can definitely see where the appeal comes from.
I have a lot of thoughts about the second one that I never finished, and I'm pretty sure I think I sold it.
I never finished it either.
Yeah, that's how much I cared about it. Number 8 is Half-Life 2.
Fair enough.
I love that game. I've played through it at least twice. Number 7 is Tetris, which is a hard yes. That's
a big obvious to me.
Number 6 is Super Mario Bros. 3.
3, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Which I'm not surprised because of
That's
the
like
original series.
That's the foundation of the modern era of Mario.
Yeah. Number 5, Breath of the Wild, which obviously is the newest game in this list. I think the closest one to that is maybe Portal 2, which is at number 3.
Okay.
Which, that's a hard yes, because Portal 2 is one of my favorite games of all time.
We talked about integrated co-op. That's a great example of it.
Oh my gosh, yes. The fact that there's like a single-player campaign and a co-op campaign is a great way to go about that. Both are totally worth your time, and I've played through both. Going back, number 4 is Super Metroid.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, that's a wonderful game.
It's also like one of the only Metroid games that I've beaten.
Is Super Metroid like the first game, I guess not counting the original Metroid or Metroid 2, that was really designed like that? You know, go find the power-up, unlock new pathways you didn't have before.
Well, I mean, that's why they call those style of games Metroidvanias.
Because Castlevania didn't start doing that until the 2000s, I think. I could be wrong. I'm not the biggest Castlevania person, so I don't have all that knowledge, but
I would imagine it probably started earlier, but they're probably like a mix of elements that are
Symphony
like
of
shared.
the Night, I think, is the game I hear that like really started that with Castlevania.
Okay.
And I think that was a Game Boy Advance game. I could be wrong.
Okay, I'll let you guess what series, 2 different series the top 2 are from.
2 different series? Are these Nintendo series or are they third parties?
They're definitely Nintendo.
So number 2, I'm going to go ahead and say Mario. Pokemon?
Nope.
Zelda?
Yes.
Ocarina of Time?
Nope.
Really? Link to the Past?
Yes.
Okay.
Which obviously is a worthy choice.
Yeah.
Still a game I need to finish. And then number 1.
Is this a Mario game?
Yes.
Is it Super Mario Brothers?
No.
Super Mario World?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I adore that game.
Yeah.
So Super Mario Brothers 3 and World made it into the top 10.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean those are like, I mean there's 3 Mario games in here.
If I'm going to be honest, like I think I would have maybe swapped Mario Brothers 3, and obviously it's a wonderful game, but I think I would have swapped that with Super Mario Galaxy.
For Mario 3D Galaxy?
Yeah. I think Galaxy is an incredibly important game, especially when you consider the way that they designed the levels in that game. I can't think of a Mario experience I've had more fun with than like the Galaxy type level designs that kind of carried over into 3D World and 3D Land.
For sure.
I missed it in Odyssey. Like, I don't like Odyssey as much as the Galaxy games. And
you have Galaxy 2, correct?
I do.
Okay, I'm
I'm
gonna have
not
to play
afraid
that.
to admit that because like I really like that kind of linear obstacle coursey design that Galaxy kind of set in. So yeah, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I still have to play through that game. So
The second one,
yeah.
it's by far the
I
better.
mean,
of the two.
I beat the first one, but I never got the chance to play through the second
Two
one.
is so good.
So yeah, I mean that's just the top 10. There's a lot of other ones. They here in the My Nintendo News article.
Oh, Don corrected. Symphony of the Night was a PS1 game. Came out in '97.
Okay, so that's not too far after.
Right, but Super Metroid does predate that.
Yeah. When did Super Metroid come out? Metroid.
92,
Okay.
I think. 91 or 92.
So they said they put Pokemon Go at number 100, Smash Ultimate at 74, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 68. So just some other notable ones. Super Mario Odyssey did not make the list.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
But
kind of okay with that.
That being said, the IGN list is just a reflection of, that discussion.
94, the year we were born. Super
Oh,
Metroid.
wow. I can't believe it's been so long. God.
I was born the same day as Super Metroid.
To think that all these games are like older than us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man. Moving on. The
Moving
Pokemon
on.
anime is set to reveal Pikachu's backstory.
Okay, so this is kind of details around this aren't exactly concrete. They released a trailer. The trailer's in Japanese. I don't speak fluent Japanese. I do speak some Japanese, but I was only able to pull, this and that. And this I don't remember where we pulled the source from for this story. I mean, it came from My Nintendo News, but they sourced from other players.
For sure.
Players.
Yeah, My Nintendo News is always
It's
like
a congregate,
secondary.
right?
Yeah.
But like in the trailer, there's glimpses of a Pichu. Which doesn't really have much of a part in the story of Ash and Pikachu. And in the story that they wrote, they say Ash and Pikachu's backstory. We know Ash and Pikachu's backstory, but do I know Ash's backstory and Pikachu's backstory? That seems to be what the anime will be touching on, and that's exciting to me.
Pikachu didn't start out as a Pikachu.
Pikachu started out as a Pichu.
No, he started out as an egg.
Which started at yes.
I hope we get to see him hatch.
That'd be wonderful. I mean, I never considered that there might be like some story worth telling that takes place before Pichu evolved into Pikachu. I'm kind of interested in seeing what they come up with.
Well,
for
I
that.
mean, Ash's Pikachu is a very, very distinct Pikachu. So
Yeah.
I imagine that there has to be like some sort of trauma in that background.
I mean, even their first day together was a very traumatic experience for both of them. The first episode of Pokemon is one of my favorite openings to an anime ever. If you haven't watched it, please do. It's a great episode. And then Ash, like there is one character in Ash's life we've never gotten to see, and that's his dad.
Oh.
So I think they might play into that a little bit.
His dad's dead.
His dad was a Pokemon trainer. We know that.
And definitely dead.
That could be. He could also be standing on the top of Mount Silver waiting for somebody to challenge him.
He was killed by a Pikachu.
That would be awful. Oh my God, what if they do that?
They're gonna do it. I said it's here. You heard it here first, folks. It's Nintendo stuff canon that a Pikachu, an angry, disgruntled Pikachu, who was disgruntled, who was the father of Ash's Pikachu, killed Ash's father, and then that's gonna cause that realization is gonna cause a rift in between Pikachu and Ash.
Oh no, I'm not ready. I'm not prepared for that. So it's a little unclear to me whether this is a continuation after the Sun and Moon arc or if it is a reboot of the series. I still don't know exactly. The last episode of the Sun and Moon anime showed Ash and Pikachu leaving Alola and going back to Kanto. I think I haven't watched it myself, but I know they're leaving. So we'll have an answer to that soon if it's not already been made clear. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I hold the anime pretty close to my heart.
For sure.
Sorry, I'm a little sniffly. What's else? What's else on the docket?
So outside of Nintendo news, we got a few other things.
Third party stuff.
So the Fatal Frame producer, Keisuke, dude, I did it. Kikuchi, would like to see an entry of Fatal Frame on the Switch.
I'm sure that'll happen. We had Made in Black Water on Wii U.
Did we ever get that in the US?
We did.
Okay.
And there's an assist trophy for the character from that game in Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, I've never gotten a chance to play those games, but I've always been fascinated by them. I like dark games.
And it's kind of like an interesting gameplay mechanic too. Like you're taking pictures of ghosts.
Yeah.
That's like the combat. I played Maiden of Blackwater. I didn't love it, but I was new to the series, so maybe there's just kind of like some hump I have to get over before I can really understand what I'm doing.
Or maybe there are better games in the series to play.
That's also a possibility. There's Spirit Camera on the 3DS, which is a Fatal Frame game, just not under that name here in the U.S. Oh, we're getting into Pokemon lore over here. I'll read that in a second, but yeah, I think Fatal Frame is a shoo-in for Nintendo Switch, and I'd like to give it another try.
Yeah. The other piece of news, which I wasn't anticipating that this game would be on my mind, which is Persona 5 Scramble, the Phantom Strikers. They revealed the trailer the other week. And
this is a Musou game.
Yeah, it's a Musou game, but apparently there's going to be platforming.
Really?
Yeah, which was the thing that perked my ears. Like seems like they're kind of going the extra mile.
And that kind of plays well into the idea of the Phantom Thieves because, they're stealing stuff. So you want to be jumping around and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, so it hopefully they do something really different with this Musou game. Because, I mean, as much as I just enjoy the chaos of Musou games, like, you kind of know what you're getting for a Musou game, and it doesn't really change all that much from even if there's a different face on it,
Yeah, it just Toy Tecmo is involved in this game, correct? Or is this a Musou knockoff? I need some clarification.
I'm pretty sure it's like official.
An official Musou. Okay.
But I also could be wrong about that. I didn't even think about that it could not be.
We just always assume because they do so
Tecmo.
much crossover content.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can just look it up on the. Where's our fact checker and producer?
We need a third person in here. Persona 5 Scramble, Don.
We also need to be funded. Somebody fund us.
Help.
Actually, but not just anybody, because I don't want to have to. Never mind. Persona. I put Persona Scramble 5. That's all I'll say.
Persona Scramble 5. Developed by Omega Force.
It's the fifth Persona Scramble game.
Don has clarified it for it. It is a Musou game.
Yes. Oh, it's developed by Omega
Force. Yeah.
Which is they're the devs.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Fantastic.
Glad we got that clarified. Thanks, Don.
Wow.
We love you.
Why don't you produce our show? Fact check all the stuff for us. One day. We need more money and more people on the team. But
so what else do we have?
that's it, man.
We're out. We're done.
We're done. I should have said that was the last thing.
Did we field questions for this week?
I think we might have.
Did we do it last week?
We did it last week, and then
no,
things fell through. Again, if you want to figure out a little bit about why that happened, you should join
the
our
Discord.
Discord.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start looking.
Yeah, honestly, you should probably just go to the
I'm checking
Twitter where we filled out the questions.
We asked on the 25th for some questions. Yeah, okay, we got some.
All right, question slot.
The question slot.
Oh, we didn't queue up that. No, we don't have a transition.
We don't have that yet. Don says, I'd love to do that in the background as a backtracker. Or to be a backtracker. Cool. And he says he loves us too.
Heart.
Big hearts.
Heart for Don.
Heart. The camera's over there, not over there. Okay, so first question's up from Cosmic_Bones, friend of the show. He lives in my attic. Scenario: the next mainline Mario game is announced. However, you don't play as Mario. None of the main cast of characters either. You play as a successor to Mario in some sort of far-off future. How would you feel? Would you still give it a shot? Of course I would. That sounds rad.
Yeah, it honestly brings me back to Mario Tennis on the Game Boy Color and also then the Game Boy Advance. More particularly because I played the Game Boy Color
great
one. Where you played as an avatar, which it's
Alex. His name
Alex. Well, you can name it whatever you want, but
canonically Alex.
Yeah, that would be honestly really cool. Maybe there could be some sort of exploration of obviously Mushroom Kingdom, and then finding Mario. Mario is missing.
Well, he says a far off future.
A far future.
So like a descendant of Mario, like Lucario.
Well, you can still look for Mario. Maybe he's been frozen for 1,000 years.
Well, he's the next Captain America.
It's just Mario, but Futurama.
Okay, fair enough. Don says, I can't believe we'll be playing as Waluigi the second. That could be really cool, though. Like, you could... I'm a sucker for, like, passing the torch stories. Like, I love Dragon Ball. You know that. You love Dragon Ball, too. But, like, Goku passing the torch on to Gohan is one of my favorite arcs during the Cell Saga.
Yeah.
So, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm down with this, though. I feel like the only way this is going to happen is if Miyamoto dies.
That's a little morbid.
It's going to happen sooner or later. It might not be for another 50 years because that man doesn't age.
I'm not entirely convinced like Miyamoto would be against an idea like that. What he would say is like, how do we make that, how do we centralize the gameplay around this idea that this is not Mario but a descendant of Mario? Because you can't just make a Mario game.
Yeah, it'd have to be kind of a mix.
Exactly.
Of some sorts.
It has to be
you can still have
something
that
new.
DNA.
Right.
It can still be maybe like a platformer of sorts, but
I think honestly, like we should definitely trust him with that too, because like, coming up with the gameplay ideas is kind of his thing.
They should make it like super hardcore where he like not only can jump but he slides around and you give him guns and also his color scheme is red and black.
I'm the only one who's gonna get that. Don says, to be fair, Miyamoto is barely involved in the process of actually making Mario. It's EAD and the new Super Mario Brothers team, and Tezuka-san, and the guy who made the Switch. I forget his name. Koizumi.
I mean, that's a fair point. It'd be fun to see more experimentation in the world of Mario, though, because obviously, like with Mario, generally it's like there's some set things. You're gonna get Mario, you're gonna get 3D Mario, you're gonna get some Mario sports games. I mean, not that they haven't experimented. Obviously, after Super Mario 3D World, we got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Yes.
Which is a solid game, which is still something that I would like to play through. I should get that on my Switch. But yeah, it build out from that, especially something as ambitious as that. So I guess Nintendo can just hire Cosmic and he can lead up the team. I'd say that's worthwhile.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to Sandman's question. He says, what would be the roster of your choice for a new 12-character Mario Kart game with 3 bonus DLC characters also of your choosing? So 15 characters is a lot to come up with, so let's maybe do 3.
Waluigi, and Waluigi 2.
So I'm assuming he's suggesting new characters. So EGAD.
Yeah, Waluigi 2.
Oh,
he's the sequel to Waluigi.
You're right, Waluigi the second.
Also, where's baby Waluigi?
He's the only one who doesn't have like a baby form.
No, baby Wario isn't a thing.
He is in Yoshi's Island DS.
Yeah, but not as a character.
Not in a character of Mario Kart, but he exists.
Could you imagine this chubby little baby Wario?
I can, because we've seen him before.
Well, yeah, but like in Mario Kart.
No, I can.
All right,
that's the end of that
bit.
So characters I'd like to see: EGAD, Palutena, Pauline.
Yo, Palutena can make it too.
Palutena and
Mario
Kart.
We've thrown Animal Crossing and Zelda in there and Inkling. So whatever, just throw other things in there.
Palutena and Mario Kart.
Where's Ganondorf?
I'd play as Ganondorf in Mario Kart, absolutely.
As long as you can Doria people.
He needs
throw a shot Doria.
Doria. That'd be awesome. Monster Hunter should be a character in Mario Kart.
Where's Captain Rainbow?
Captain Rainbow. There we
go.
go.
What the heck, guys?
So that is our roster.
What the heck? Nintendo. What the heck? Come on. What the heck, Nintendo? Where's Captain Rainbow? Come on. What's your deal, huh? Where's Captain Rainbow? Give me.
It's okay.
Did something happen?
It's over now.
Oh, did I get stuck in a loop again?
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
The bits are bad today.
Yeah, you gotta blow my cartridge next time if I do that again.
That's a myth, by the way. Another friend of the show, Conman RDW, says, I've been avoiding Luigi's Mansion 3 trailers like the plague to start fresh for the release. What was the last game you went media blackout for? Skyward Sword.
Um,
I made it a big point to just not watch trailers because I didn't want to be spoiled on the story, and I'm glad I didn't because the story was one of the best parts of that game.
At a certain point, I just stopped paying attention to any promotional material for Fire Emblem Three Houses. Like, I just wanted to play the game, and I knew, like, after they showed off, like, hey, look, you're walking around in the school. I'm like, okay, that's it. I need it. And I still haven't played through it.
And you're Mr. Fire Emblem.
I am.
You got to play that game, man.
Yeah.
I have never steamrolled a Fire Emblem game before, but until that one.
Yeah, you, like, finished that in no time at all.
Yeah. Turns out maybe I like RPGs after all. Anyway, yeah. It's, Skyward Sword for me. And not to say that I don't go media blackout on games these days, but, like, I went media blackout for the entirety of that game's, like...
You just knew it was... Like, it existed. And you were like,
from the
enough.
announcement, everything after that I didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
And then we have another question from Dark's Flames. He says, I'm wondering which tracks you would like to see return in a new Mario Kart game, or even what kind of new tracks, and possibly from which franchises. My picks are Rainbow Road from the GameCube, Wario Coliseum, and Waluigi Pinball. I think these stages could be really fun with anti-gravity. And he says, and yes, I kind of stole this question from Sandman. And Sandman says, the more the better.
I'm not sure, because whenever I think about the best tracks in Mario Kart,
Don got it. Coconut Mall from Mario Kart Wii.
that would be dope. That'd
That's
be
a
a
great
good one. I just go back to Moo Moo Meadows, and that's already...
Moo Moo Meadows is such a good track.
It's just so good. Also, the music, some of the best music in any Mario Kart track, hands down.
And it's also like the big showpiece for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, that's the prettiest course in that game.
Yeah,
That's a whole package.
it's so good.
For courses I like to see return, DK Mountain from Double Dash. I love that track.
Yeah, I have a custom environment for Beat Saber.
That's
DK Mountain.
That's awesome. That would be really cool with anti-gravity too, because like you could like maybe ride up the sides of the mountain in that one slope section after you land after shooting out of the cannon.
Yeah, they could really remix that. And
Yeah,
make it
absolutely.
really solid.
That was like for me and Paul when we played Double Dash all the time. That was the track, was DK Mountain. That's one of the reasons I love Mount Wario so much, because it's like it's just
Wario's so good.
yeah, it's like a roller coaster ride. That's the kind of feel I get from DK Mountain, and you know, yeah, that's what makes it such a great showpiece. So yeah, DK Mountain. As far as like a new track design from a new franchise, Kid Icarus. I'd love. They mentioned here over in the chat. There's a chapter in Kid Icarus Uprising where you have to go get the Lightning Chariot, which is like a chariot drawn by Pegasi, and it generates lightning. I think they could make a track based around the level you played with that in, and that'd be really cool. It's hard for me to describe because it's kind of like spacey, otherworldly.
Dude, and that's already a great start for Pitt's kart design.
That is his kart design. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, that'd be great. And I think it's safe to say that with the next iteration of Mario Kart, they'll probably add more Nintendo franchises because that seems to be the direction they're going with it now.
It's a shame we're never going to get another Kid Icarus game.
You know what? There's like 25 years between Kid Icarus and Kid Icarus Uprising, I think. I can wait another 25. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Oh, finally, another Kid Icarus game. No, I was so close. Turning it on, booting up, and just fall over dead.
That'd be so sad.
Not the diabetes.
That's what's going to happen to me, man. I'm counting down the days. It's the day that the sequel to Uprising comes out. That's the end of me.
It's like there's a time limit. First your leg falls off, and then your other leg. And
no. This is bad.
Then you lose a finger. How can I hold the stylus for this one?
There goes my thumbs.
This doesn't even have a touchscreen. Why am I using a stylus?
At that point, we'll be able to control games with our eyeballs.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a whole bunch of accessibility controllers.
They're gonna have diabetes forward controllers for me.
This is for
they'll project the game into my head.
This is for limbless diabetics.
Yeah, so definitely Kid Icarus track. What would you like to see from a new franchise entering Mario Kart? Don says, imagine one based on the Octo expansion.
Oh.
Like the subway underground area. Because we don't have a Splatoon track. We just have the multiplayer map.
For sure. In terms of a franchise that would make it into... obviously, we have some F-Zero representation.
2 tracks, actually.
Yes.
Mute City and Big Blue.
Yeah.
And we have the Zelda Hyrule track.
Yes.
Even though I don't like that track very much.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great, but it's still Zelda track.
For sure.
Breath of the Wild track, though. Give me a Breath of the Wild track. Think about that. They could even just port the map over and just have fun with that. And, maybe make a section out of one of the areas in the game and just, like, build a track in it. I think that would be cool.
Dude, you could probably just take sections and just kind of stitch them together.
Yeah.
Be sure to include the golf hole.
Oh, get a Korok seed.
Yeah, dude, I didn't think I found that part until my second playthrough of the game.
That's in the kind of like fallish looking area, right? That region. I forget the name of it.
I can't remember. But you find a Goron in this big golf ball.
Oh, the mini game.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking there's a golf Korok seed thing too, where you have to hit a boulder using stasis and it lands in the hole.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever found that actually.
The mini game?
No.
Did you know it existed?
No.
Bro!
I don't think I did.
Bro, dude, that was one of my favorite parts. Is like, yeah, there's just like I think they give you like 3 hits.
How did I not know about this?
Yeah.
You hit a Goron?
No, you hit a big like golf ball. It's like a big rock. You have to use
Oh, that's in the
stasis.
canyon, right?
Yep.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about. I was like, what is
I was like, how did you? That's like one of my like favorite like little parts of like they just threw a golf hole in there.
That's
like,
awesome.
Genius.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't think. Why is there not like a Mario Party themed course like that?
Like playing on a board.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of neat. And maybe like have it so that if you drive over spaces, certain things happen. That'd be cool.
Either events or items.
Have an actual Mario Party on a Mario Kart track too. That'd be fun.
You have to hit some dice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see them try that.
Yeah, that'd be really neat. In terms of like franchises that just haven't shown up in it,
Tetris.
Tetris would be cool. In terms of Nintendo franchises, give me Metroid.
A Metroid. Oh yes. Okay, so like Diddy Kong Racing is one of my favorite kart racers, if not my favorite kart racer.
Mm-hmm.
And that has 3 modes of transportation. You have the kart, you have the hovercraft, and you have the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
What if they introduced an airplane type thing that you could use, maybe even just specific to that track, and have it be like truly anti-gravity, where you're actually flying through space, and maybe even use Samus's starship. Maybe everyone's driving those instead.
Yo,
I think that'd be really cool.
that'd be dope.
Remember the Metroid game in Nintendo Land where the gamepad user got to use the starship?
Yep,
That's kind of where my mind went. Is like playing something kind of like that.
that'd be dope.
Give it to me, Nintendo.
So.
Nintendo says, I can't wait to play as the L block as a driver.
Yeah, that's my dream. Because
Can he only turn right?
I'm sad that I didn't have the costume idea for
Nintendo Land track. Don's on it, yeah.
Yeah. Come on. I can't believe that was it was like such a waste. It wasn't because it was so good, but like it felt like such a waste not getting that back.
Yeah.
And now I don't even have a Wii U to play
My
Nintendo
biggest
Land
regret
on.
for selling my Wii U
It's just not being able
is
to
not having Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
Like, people talk about Wii Sports being a wonderful pack-in game, and it is, but I think Nintendo Land is even better, personally. It's not nearly as historically significant, but, it came up with all these cool multiplayer gameplay ideas that were just really fun. Oh, you look like you just had a brain blast.
So we have a Wii Sports. Wait, do we have a Wii Sports Resorts track?
Woohoo Island. There's 2 Woohoo tracks.
There's 2.
Woohoo.
Why is there not just like a Wii Sports track. Like even just driving like through large sections of like the bowling alley
That would be fun.
or the boxing ring.
You like go down the lane, hit the pins, and then like go down in, and then maybe you show up on the tennis court or something.
Yeah, like they could just use all that iconography, or maybe like the there's that one bowling mode where you're just bowling ever larger.
The 100 pin challenge.
Yeah, and then at the 100 pin challenge, you always roll it down that side
And hit the button.
and hit the trigger. Yeah.
Did you know my friends Devin and Alvin didn't believe me that there was a button you could hit to like
I
explode
thought
the
everybody
pins?
knew about that.
They didn't, and they didn't believe me. We spent all night at my grandparents' house one time, trying to do it, and we finally did it. They were tired of trying by that point, and then I hit it, and they were like, "You weren't lying."
Wait, what are you talking about? It's not even hard to do.
I mean, well, I still hadn't figured it out by that point,
Okay.
but I had done it before, so
Right.
I was practicing.
Yeah, you just got to raise it up so you don't get any spin on it, right?
Yeah.
And then just kind of toss it a
The
little
problem
bit.
though is like you can't go right over the line with the ball, so there's a little bit of like having to curve it over to get it on to the rail in the first place.
Whatever.
I'm just saying.
You guys don't know how to do this.
Don says Nintendo Land was the perfect reflection of the Wii U. I feel good ideas, some undercooked, true, but strong ideals. Yeah, I agree. Definitely need a sequel to that at some point.
Yeah.
So this has been a very lively episode of Nintendo stuff today.
Has it been?
Yes.
I don't know. You keep interrupting my phone time.
Oh, we're already back to that. Again, sorry about the delay. We've had some stuff going on. If you want information on that, please join the Discord server. There's a link to that in the YouTube description. If you're listening to this on audio sources, please leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. And if you want to help support the show, you can either do that as by becoming a member on YouTube, by joining our Patreon, supporting us right over on Anchor.fm if you just want to support Nintendo stuff itself. Plenty of ways to do that. Make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd love to have you here. And follow me on Twitter at BabbittBabs. Follow Logan at LoggyDubs. Follow us as a collective at Breakroom Arcade. And tweet at us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, tweet at me.
Logan, you're really committed to this bit, but you're actually scrolling through Twitter.
It's really a natural state for me.
Yeah, I could tell.
And that's funny because I kind of want to abolish.
Twitter?
No, I want to abolish phones.
Oh.
I want to be able to live in a world where I don't ever feel the need to have this on me.
Well, I mean, maybe take it as just a personal thing, and you just start with yourself.
No, the material conditions have to change.
You could just buy a flip phone.
I just don't want a phone at all. That's the problem. If I'm gonna have a phone, I better have one of these ones.
Okay. I don't really follow, but we'll leave it at that.
Don't worry.
So thank you guys so much for watching the show, for listening to us ramble and make bad jokes.
Speak for yourself.
Uh-huh. But make sure to come back next weekend for Nintendo Stuff episode 58. We'll be just a week away from Pokemon Sword and Shield by that point, and also Terry Bogard will probably be out in Smash Brothers by then, so we'll probably talk about that as well.
Remember when you thought he was going to drop the other night?
I mean, a lot of people on the internet did. Initially, I thought he was going to drop next week because it's been in between Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon, but then, a few things started happening. They changed it to coming soon. On the advertisement for Terry Bogard, there's an SNK copyright on the Spirit Board update. John Cartwright over at Game Explain, he was making me believe. I love you, man, but now I'm sad. So we'll see you guys next time. Don't break your backs, break in the games, but for now, break time is over.
Kiss your friends.
On the cheek.